The Ascension Parish Zoning Commission, February 11, 2015 session is now in order. Roll call. For the record, Mr. Burgess, Mr. Fryer, not all others are present. Staff.
Patrice Johnson, zoning.
Minutes. Can I get a motion from the floor for the minutes from the previous meeting?
I move for approval.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition? So noted. Motion passes. Okay, first item, public hearing to amend the Ascension Parish Development Code for recommendation for approval or denial to the Ascension Parish Council. Item A, zoning review, ID 2490.15.
Yes, sir. This is for recommendation to accept or deny mixed use. Staff recommendation is to deny the mixed use as requested, even with the existing mixed use designation in the area. The majority of surrounding properties are currently designated as residential in use, and amending the proposed property to mixed use would not be conducive to the surrounding area or properties. Thank you.
Any comments from commissioners? At this time, open the floor for public hearing.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Good afternoon.
I don't understand the language y'all speaking, but I own the property 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on Highway 42, and I bought the property approximately 18 years ago. It was commercial when I bought it, and it got rezoned to residential without me knowing about it. I'm a traveling workman. I'm a pipeline welder. I travel all over the country. I'm gone 8 months out of the year at times, and I had no idea that they rezoned my property. And I'd just like to get it back the way it was when I bought it. I bought it because it was commercial, and that's the reason I bought it. That one day when I retire, I have hopes of having some kind of business. I couldn't tell you what kind, but I want to have the opportunity to put a business there if I can. And that's the purpose and the reason I bought it to start with. And that's my part. That's what I got to say.
Staff, for clarity, aren't all individuals to be impacted by a rezoning notified?
What happens is an overall change that occurred back in 2003 and 2009 and probably 2012. We had public hearings throughout the parish when there was changes of the map, not for one particular properties but for the parish as an overall. And that's when this occurred on his property and the majority of the property within the parish. So each individual, were they notified? No, sir. But what it was is that we did it as an overall, meaning the parish, we did the whole parish more than once since he bought the property. And all those times, we've had public meetings. I know when Ricky first came on, when we did it, we probably had 12, 13 public hearings throughout the parish to state that there was going to be rezoning throughout the parish. So to answer your question, no, we do not notify each individual property owner when these things occur because there's so much property and we're doing it as a whole. We're not doing one individual property.
Lance, what's the purpose of doing that? Are we trying to clean up? I mean, so in 1998, zoning went in as a blanket,
Correct.
and in 2003, 9, and 12, we're trying to clean something up.
Yes, sir, we try to clean some of those things up. See, what happened is that a lot of the streets and our highways were stripped out, meaning that they were commercial from one end to the other. mixed use, whatever it was. And remember also at that time, we only had one commercial designation, which was mixed use, which allowed many things in those districts. So what we did is we created another zoning category, crossroad commercial, but then what we did is we looked at the parish as a whole and looked at it and stated that, you know, maybe commercial shouldn't be from end of 42 all the way to the parish line. We should stop it at some point, and that's what we did. And on 42 and other areas also, I mean, and 44 and those other areas that we've done in the past.
Are there non-conforming buildings on this property now?
No, sir.
Not at all?
No, sir.
So-
He lives on the property. There's a home on this property.
So this, we have a zoning map somewhere that shows that this was commercial at some point?
And the original map stated that it was 99, and back in 99, yes, I would say yes.
That it would have said commercial?
Yes,
No
that it
kidding.
would have been, I guess, I think it was called high-intensity commercial / residential. I mean, it was a whole different classification and everything else that we have now, so it wasn't
And
mixed
that
use.
kind of changes things for me, I guess, for the man's request. Even though it was all public hearings, that mixes things up a little bit in my head for this.
They've got commercial buildings beside me and across the street from me that was zoned commercial that wasn't commercial to start with, but later the man took it on his own to do his business, and they voted him in commercial, grandfathered him in.
Is that John Tomplay, that property, John Tomplay property? Is that what he's talking about? Okay.
I'm talking about property across the street,
Right.
That's the-
Galvez boat landing.
Yeah.
But,
Lance,
did-
what was the, for instance, in 2012, was that when we were sitting?
It may not have been 2012, it might have been 2009. I know that when Ricky first came on, we went throughout the whole parish and had meetings throughout whenever we made a change. That was also whenever we basically, before, like I said, we stripped it out and went so many feet back. At that point, we actually took properties and took property lines instead of going back a certain footage. And what we did is we actually took in properties instead of just stripping out, you know, the whole roads. So that's what we did. There was a cleanup. It was basically a cleanup. And also when Mixed Use 2 came out, when Mixed Use, and that was during this time, when Mixed Use 2, whenever we created that district, we went through and we made some changes along Highway 44 and Highway 42, and trying to think of some other areas, but those are the two major areas that we designated some of those properties Mixed Use 2 that might have been zoned, you know, high intensity or mixed use quarter, or actually crossroad commercial, that we took those out. And we made those properties mixed use too. And we made some of those properties, if they were being used as residential, we put them as medium intensity residential.
It's scary to think if someone purchases a piece of property at commercial prices and it gets kicked out from under them, and now they have to sell it as residential. That's,
The Deborah Scott property next door, that's commercial that was grandfathered in?
Yes, sir, yeah,
Okay.
yes, sir.
And what else around it? It's kind of hard to tell from the map, but you mentioned it's surrounded by residential. So where's the residential around it?
All around it, all around it, yes, sir. Yes,
If
sir.
I'm sorry, how close are the
across
houses to your property? Do you have any, like, right next to it, adjacent to your property?
How close is to my house?
The nearest house,
The nearest house to my property is approximately 1,000 feet on either side.
and you're requesting to go to what type of zoning?
and have you talked
Airline.
with them about what your plans are for the commercial use of your property? Do you know them? Are they aware of any of this?
No, sir, I've been there 18 years, and I couldn't tell you their last name.
Okay.
It's on the
Well,
map.
It's like I said, I travel all over this country, making my living. This is my home.
Is
And
there
I-
anyone here that signed up to speak for or against this proposal? Are we in public hearing?
Well, we have one now. We have one now. Let the lady,
Yeah, okay.
Open public hearing? Oh, we're on
it was
public
open.
hearing. Okay.
We're in public hearing.
Sit down. Yes, that gentleman.
Please allow the lady to take the floor, please.
Okay.
I'm Sue Thornhill. I represent a family petition across the street. I'm representing three family owners.
Thornhill.
Okay, I represent three different families, property owners directly across the street from Mr. Roy. We didn't know anything about it other than the sign. We didn't get any kind of notification in the mail about it. We did not know that his property had previously been commercial. So we live, Big John is our neighbor. Then to the right of us on to Manchac Point is all residential. Roy's house is residential. We know the Scott Company is there. But we've heard several different things from different people about what's intended for the property once it is commercial. We don't necessarily have any problem with any of that other than this is our home. We have a very private 6 acres that we raise our children and grandchildren on. Don't have to worry about it, even with the boat landing there, because there's always someone there. And we have a real problem with it going commercial because you lose control little by little. And we didn't know, like I said, except for the sign, and I finally called my councilman and says, so what does the sign mean to us? And that's when we found out, because no one here, directly across the street, 42 is not that big, didn't get any kind of notification. And myself and the other 2 property owners are here, and would not care for any more commercialization in our home, because we're going to stay there and live there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lance, what is their property zone right now? It's hard to tell what to call it.
Right, theirs is zone conservation,
Across the street.
across the street,
Their
yes, sir.
conservation.
Yes,
Wow, so this really sticks it in the middle of residential,
yes, sir.
of rural
Correct, yes, sir.
conservation. That's
Had Mr. Nicholson Mr. Nicholson, you live on the property now, or you have a home on the property?
Yes, sir.
So it's kind of established as residential is the point. Had you had some commercial enterprise on when the zoning was changed, I think it would be grandfathered in as commercial, well, as long as, I guess, you didn't change what the type of business was, right?
Correct, and you didn't shut down for a certain amount of time and those
Right.
type of things.
right.
I'd like to ask the staff, how was Big John's, where Big John's is, was it conservation and then get changed to mixed use or whatever it is? What is it?
Mixed use, yes, sir.
And it was in the middle of the residential area, and the
Correct.
zoning commission changed it to mixed use right
The
there?
council changed it.
Okay.
Because of non-conforming use?
Or was it, or
Not
was
necessarily.
he open already when they changed it?
Good question.
No comment?
The council changed it.
Okay.
Any further questions from the floor? Public hearing? Any further questions from the commission? That being said, public hearing closed. Can I get a motion?
No, I'll move to deny the request.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna go no.
Wanna-
I'm gonna go no,
And I'm gonna go no also.
yeah.
I'll vote no.
This will be the first split vote.
Yeah.
Chair's
Well-
gonna break the tie.
I also vote no. I
That's a
also
tough one.
oppose. That being said, was that motion?
Motion fails and the.
Motion fails, yes.
So it's we'll recommend approval to the,
Council.
To the council.
do we need another
Who's gonna
motion?
make the motion? If you want to recommend approval, then someone needs to make that motion. The first.
Oh, I recommended denial.
Denial,
And
yeah.
it died.
So
No.
we
Do what we normally do,
No.
don't we do
No,
a tally?
I
whoever
recommended
voted
denial,
no
it was
needs to make a
seconded.
motion
Oh.
in the
Voted,
affirmative.
and it voted 2-2, and the chairman
Okay.
voted to deny.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
If y'all don't let me put, if I
We're
don't get
voting in
this back,
favor of you.
if I don't get this back commercial, does that mean I can't put a house trailer or anything else on my property? I got over 4 acres there,
I thought we did.
and,
You can put residence
my
on
neighbor
it.
across the street that lives across the street
Deny
from
the
me,
change.
they got rental trailers right across the street from me in front of my house.
You could subdivide this piece of property to what's the density?
3-inch breaker, but he already has 3 lots there, so, or 4 lots or however many, so he could put one on each,
Okay.
one dwelling on each lot,
Okay.
as it stands now.
I wanted
But the
to-
minimum is 90 feet of frontage.
Hold on, there's some confusion
Okay.
as to what we actually voted on, so Maury wanted to say something.
Yeah, I voted in favor, I meant to vote in favor
I did,
of letting him have the zoning change.
and I did as well. Do we need a roll call? Let's do that.
Well, you
But the
did,
motion was to deny, so there needs to be another motion.
yeah, there needs to be a substitute
approve.
motion.
Okay, well, I'll make a substitute motion to approve the request.
To approve his request.
I second the motion.
Second,
Okay,
We have to vote on the substitute motion first.
okay.
Yeah.
All in favor? Substitute motion to approve the request.
aye.
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 Are you voting to approve it?
Yes.
Well, you don't vote actually until,
Until
well, we voted, I
There were
voted
two
no.
and two, correct?
Right, you're right.
Okay,
Okay.
So you voted to approve his
that's
request?
correct. That is correct.
Okay, that changes what we just did.
Yeah.
So, okay, sorry for the confusion, but, so his request to, our recommendation to the council
To the
is
council.
Still gotta be
to
approved by the
allow the
council.
rezoning to commercial.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Is that correct?
yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes, yes.
all right, well,
Okay,
So we're done.
being said, we're done. Staff report?
Yes, we do. We have something.
Have something?
Yes.
I think that's what we just passed.
Item for consideration. The purpose of this proposed revision is to revise Appendix 2 of the Unified Code to address the designation language for medium-intensity residential, rural, and conservation districts. The code currently states information that is not correct in reference to the allowance of multifamily and commercial uses within these zoning districts. What happened is that whenever we amended the code, we didn't take certain things out. So it's basically, it states right now that commercial and and multifamily are permitted uses in these zoning districts. And what we want to do is we want to take those things out because it gets confusing whenever we look at the tables say that they're not allowed, and then they look at the designations or I guess the descriptions of those zoning districts, and those zoning districts state that those uses are permitted, but they're not allowed. So it's just basically just a cleanup. And I would like to, if possible, have this for public hearing for next month.
Question.
Yes.
Okay. The code says they are allowed, but what says they're not?
The tables, the permitted use tables.
So we voted for the, one way for the code and a separate way for the tables?
Yes, sir, and what happened is that when we did the tables, we never went back in and changed the code.
Okay, so we had a discussion to change the tables. we
Yes,
just
sir,
didn't-
correct, yes.
I got you,
Yes, sir.
okay.
so we have to actually do both?
No, sir, what you basically be doing is just, what you be doing is amending the code itself, not the tables. The tables are correct.
We did the tables.
The tables are done, the tables are right, yes, sir.
We did the tables
Yes.
6 months ago, maybe?
Yes, sir, yeah, and this has been like this for a while.
We just had an
Aren't
oversight.
the
Just an
tables
oversight.
just a reflection of what the code is?
Yes, sir.
We should have changed the code and not,
Right.
and the tables would automatically.
That's
change.
correct, or it should have been done at the same time,
Okay.
yes, sir.
And this would have to be recommended to the council for their approval?
Yes,
correct?
sir, because it's an amendment to the ordinance, yes, sir,
So we need to put it on the agenda for a public hearing next
next month.
month? I move that we do that.
Can I get a
Yeah,
second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? So noted, motion passes unanimously.
All right.
Guess that's it.
That being said, can I get a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Meeting adjourned.